All right, folks, welcome back to Green Iron TV. We're in Hart, Michigan, and we have several of the military vehicles, and we are getting ready to lift off for the Oceana County Veterans Day Parade. And I got 4 vehicles here. Everybody's got 4 of his and a couple more. So we're gonna be running 10 vehicles deep in this parade, and hopefully it's a good time. So thanks a lot for following along, and enjoy the parade.
Yes, you were.
Well, that'll wrap up the final parade of the season for us here at Green Iron TV. It's pretty late fall here in Michigan. It is getting very, very cold out. Matter of fact, it was only about 40 degrees today for the parade. A little chilly. Matter of fact, during the parade, the suction mount wouldn't even stick to the window on the truck because it was so cold. Which is why I didn't get much actual parade footage. Like I said, it just wouldn't stick up there real well. But all in all, we had another great day. I do want to thank my father and my son Zachary and Zachary's buddy Logan for helping me with vehicles. They drove some of the vehicles, and it's a big help to have friends like that that can help me get these vehicles out through the parade. We didn't take the M38A1 because it was fairly cold. It's the only vehicle that I have that doesn't have full enclosure ability. Or it does have the ability, I just don't have the full enclosure for one. We left that at home. All in all, we had a decent parade. I had 4 of my vehicles. My buddy Cal and his brother Joel had 4 of their vehicles. And then Tim and his son brought 2 of the 5 tons out. So we had a total of 10 vehicles. Made for a pretty good show. Little disappointed in the parade promoter or event coordinator. For some reason, they decided to put all of us military vehicles at the end of the parade. With all the we had all the veterans in the back and stuff like that. There's a couple problems with that. First of all, I felt it was an honor thing. It is the Veterans Day Parade. The veterans should have been at the head of the parade. Normally we are at the head of the parade, with the honor guard, with the flags and the whole 9 yard. We were separated from that this year, which was a little odd. I get their point. Their point last year was last year the 2 high school bands followed right behind us at the opening, and they were sucking on fumes the whole way. Especially from the 5 tons and the deuces. I get that. So the answer of moving us to the end of the parade, probably I didn't agree with. It's just the way it is. It's not my parade, so I don't get to make the call. But the other problem with that is, when you're at the end of the parade, you tend to get a really bad accordion effect throughout the parade. Stopping, starting as the parade does this. And that's really, really hard on 60-year-old military vehicles, especially with, manual with a clutch and stuff like that. It's really, really hard. It ends up with, a lot of wear and tear in the clutches from riding the clutches in and out. You're trying to be extra smooth, especially if you have a bunch of people in the back, so that you don't, give them a jerk and drop them out of the back. And then, it's even hard when, we were towing the cannon, and Cal was towing the cannon behind one of his trucks. They just didn't realize the stress it puts on the trucks, having us in the back like that, and stopping and starting. It wasn't too bad. I actually led the lead of the military vehicles. I was able to kind of leave a little bit of gap and basically, I tried to run the parade in low range second gear. That is normally what we run the parades in. That is about walking speed. We were able to do that for quite a while, but then towards the end, as the parade really started to bunch up, we had to go to first gear low range. And once again, that's, first gear low range was just a tad slow for the way they were walking, and second gear low was just a tad fast. So, it's one of the problems of being at the end of a parade. That's why I always try and make sure that the military vehicles are at the front of the parade. And like I said, the big thing I felt is, it's a respect thing. This was a Veterans Day parade. The veterans should have been up front, but oh well, I don't get to make those decisions, so I voiced my opinion with the parade promoter, which is actually the veterans organization, and hopefully they'll take that into consideration. I told them the simple solution is instead of having the bands right behind the vehicle, move the bands back further. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If not, we'll gut it out and do what we can do wherever they stick us. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching along. Like I said, it is now getting into late fall here in Michigan. Pretty much going to be pretty well done with running the vehicles. Matter of fact, we're expecting 3 to 4 inches of snow tomorrow. And if that happens and they get out and start salting the roads, we will definitely be done with running the vehicles. I don't like to run the vehicles when there's been salt on the road. And that's why usually in the spring we wait until until there's been a couple good spring rains to wash that salt off, at least the salt residue off the roads. Because let's face it, these are old vehicles and we want to preserve them as best we can, and of course keeping them out of the road salt is the best thing to do. But anyway, we had a great day. I want to thank you guys all for following along and watching the parade with us. And of course, like always, I want to remind you guys, please give us a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That way you can follow along for all our Green Iron Madness. And of course, take a moment, check out the link in the description down below for the Green Iron TV merchandise store. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of nice things in there. Make a great holiday gift for that military vehicle enthusiast in your family. So grab one of those, and of course we appreciate that because what little bit of profit comes out of those, we do use that to help maintain these vehicles and basically just put a little gas in them and get them back and forth to the parade. So thank you very much for that. And I want to also say, since this was the Veterans Day Parade, I want to say a big thank you to all our veterans out there. Thank you for your service. We do appreciate everything you have done, all the sacrifices you have made to serve this country, and we do appreciate that. So anyway, thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have a great day.